bones in the skeletal system. To start, we're going to talk about the different types of skeletal cartilages, and we know that cartilage is a strong, flexible, connective tissue that helps with movement in the body. So we have 3 skeletal cartilages: hyaline cartilage, elastic cartilage, and fibrocartilage. So we have 3 types of cartilage. We have hyaline cartilage, which provides support, flexibility, and resilience. You would find hyaline cartilage in the end of long bones, the tip of your nose, between ribs and sternum here, your larynx, trachea, and bronchi, which is in your respiratory system. Then you would find elastic cartilage contains elastic fibers, and you find this in the epiglottis, in the external ear. And finally, we have fibrocartilage, which is collagen fibers that have great tensile strength, and you would find this.
When I realized this bug was crawling on me, I was stunned.
Your intervertebral disc, pubic symphysis, which is the area within your pelvis, and your meniscus, which is your knee joint. So our skeleton is separated by 2 different main regions. We have the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. Within the axial skeleton region, we have the skull, which is protecting your brain, the vertebral column, which is your spine, and the thoracic cage, which is your ribs. And then it makes up vertical axis of the body. This region of the skeleton is basically protecting a lot of your vital organs. Like, think of all of the organs that are within the ribs. This is like where your lungs, you will find your lungs, your brain, your spine. These are all very vital organs for us to survive. On the appendicular side, we have the limbs, the upper limbs and lower limbs, the pectoral girdle, which includes the scapula and clavicle. We also have bones of arms, wrist, face, forearms, coxal, which is your hips, hip bone, your thigh, leg, ankles, and feet. So these are all very important areas of your body, but they're not protecting like vital organs. Classification of bones by shape. So we have a long bone, a short bone, a sesamoid bone, flat bone, and irregular. The long bone is longer than it is wide. So for example, your humerus would be a long bone. I thought that bug was on me all day. I'm sorry. Long bone is longer than it is wide. For example, would be the humerus. A short bone is a cube-shaped bone. This is like the talus, which is near your foot. We have a sesamoid bone, which is within tendons. You'll find the sesamoid bones like in your patella, which is in like where your knee area is. Flat bones are thin, flat, slightly curved bones. These ones you would find in your sternum. And then we have irregular bones, which are complicated shapes, and you would find this within your vertebrae. So these are all of the bones by shape. Now, obviously, every single bone looks very different and has very different bone markings. So they're not going to look exactly like these drawings, but you do have to keep the idea of what the shape may look like in mind when it comes to the anatomy of the bone. Okay, so some of the functions of bones include support for the body and soft organs, protection for your brain, your spinal cord, and vital organs, movement, it levers for muscle action, so it basically holds like structure, allowing the muscles to move around, and for storage, blood cells actually form within the bone, and triglyceride storage, which is energy storage in bone cavities. So these are all of the functions of bones that you need to know. Now we're moving on to bony tissues. We have spongy bone, which is also known as cancellous bone, and we have compact bone, which is also known as cortical. So spongy bone is less organized than compact. It contains trabeculae that form in response to stress. So spongy bone, they literally refer to their names. Like, you think of something that's spongy, like a sponge. You would, squeeze a bone, more flexible, there's more movement involved in it. And then we have compact bone, which is hard and dense. Usually occurs at the edges of the bone. Central canal of osteons houses the blood and nerve supply for bone tissue. So this is compact bone's characteristics. Now we are going to look deeper into what bone tissue is and how it looks. We have diaphysis. This is the long central part of the bone. Okay, this contains the medullary cavity, which has yellow bone marrow. Pretend this is yellow, but the medullary cavity has yellow bone marrow and is mostly made of compact bone in the diaphysis area. So remember, this is the shaft of bone. Okay, now we have the epiphysis, which is the ends. We have proximal epiphysis. We have proximal epiphysis, which obviously proximal means closer to the body, and then we have distal epiphysis, which is the lower end, which is away from the body. So this would be proximal epiphysis, and then this would be distal epiphysis. This is covered in articular. This is covered in articular cartilage, which is a type of hyaline cartilage. It reduces friction, and then this area is mostly made up of spongy bone that contains red bone marrow. Right here you see the epiphyseal lines. Okay, so now we're moving over to bone tissue. This is what the bone tissue looks like. Osteons, which is a unit of compact bone. It contains a central canal, which contains red blood vessels and nerves. So the central canal is right in the middle here. That's the central canal. It also has caniculi, which is around the central canal. It also has caniculi, which is tendon channels that allow for waste exchange between osteocytes. So it allows for waste to be exchanged, and that's the caniculi, the green. The nuclei, which houses the osteocytes. Osteocytes are mature bone cells. We also have osteoblasts, which are cells that are bone forming, and then we have osteoclasts, which are cells that are bone destroying. This is the circumferential lamellate, which is surrounding everything. In the middle, we have interstitial lamellate, which is basically like connecting them to each other. You're gonna find it all over. Over here, we have spongy bone, which contains trabeculae. You can see trabeculae, but you can see the difference between spongy bone and compact bone. Compact bone is hard and dense. Spongy bone is more loose and less dense, more free. It looks kind of weird to me. Is central rings of the classified matrix around the central canal. So this is lamellate rings. Just say lamellate, the rings around it. And thank you guys for watching. In part 2, we're going to get more in depth with the skeletal system. This was just the basics. Subscribe and follow for more. Peace.